We cannot.
Well, how do we make it available? We'll maybe have people follow you. If you're not following CryptoMathWiz on Twitter, you should, and we'll have them post some of it there.
Okay.
And then we'll have you post it in the main chat. Yeah, and then we can maybe do posting in the main chat here. There's a chat that's associated with it. I think that we can put some information.
Okay, got it. I have a PDF, so the main chat should be easy. I can share a file, right?
Yeah, you should be able to. Josh, was that right?
Correct.
Okay. Jen, you think you want me to drop it now or just wait till we get rolling?
If you could you drop it in the stage chat right above?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that. And everyone, I'll be walking through those 4 pages once we get rolling.
Perfect.
Oh, I should probably put the link in my main. I'm just going to quickly put another link into Telegram group. You guys want to get started? So I don't want to take up everybody's afternoon. I know it's Sunday. People get busy. So just get started. And then I guess in the future, I'll move this out to Twitter. I do know we do have a smaller group of investors who utilize this side of our Discord. And if you know me, I kind of prefer being at Twitter Spaces. So I do want to move that direction, utilizing that platform for our AMAs or for any type of updates that we do on tokens. So in the future. Perfect. That's perfect. So yeah, anyone listening, make sure you have a Twitter account. It'll assist you in getting, more of our information as well as search information. So I guess we can go over. Josh, do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
You can go ahead.
Okay. I guess I'll just start by introducing myself. If everyone knows, I'm just Jen, or just Jen on some of my main platforms, but I'm the CEO here at Vault DeFi. I also work in blockchain integration and many aspects of blockchain just in general. I try and assist anyone I can in not only investment strategies, but also enterprises and companies that are looking to kind of move into blockchain or assist them in any aspects of, developing or moving their companies or their projects forward. We have on the stage today with us also Blue. So Blue for Life 90. He is from the XUSD team, which is our collaboratory company. They are a huge new player in the DeFi space and rather unique with what they utilize as their properties for making investments for their community. So I'll just let Blue kind of introduce himself and let everybody know who he is.
Hi guys, thank you for the introduction, Jen. My name's Blue. But yeah, I'm the community manager for the XUSD server, and also the cross-platform moderator for all their social media outlets. I work directly with Mark and other members of the leadership team to get the projects ready, prepare launches, get secure protocols together for the launches, and make sure we get all the information out there. Also put together all the educational material for the new projects that we release. But yeah, really happy to be here today. Really happy to go over some of the information. As Jen has mentioned, we're a very strong collaborator with Vault DeFi, and a lot of our projects kind of tie into theirs. So any questions that you guys have today in the AMA, I'll be happy to help where I can.
Yeah, we really thank you for coming. I also have on the stage with us Andrew. He's CryptoMathWiz. So for any of you who want to follow him, I highly recommend it on Twitter. You just follow him at CryptoMathWiz. Andrew, introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. I'm Andrew, the Crypto Math Whiz. I like numbers, as the name implies, and I've got some fun data to share with you all. I mean, some of you may have seen on Twitter when I talk about the number of reflections that are coming off, and I try to focus on, look at if there's a big 24-hour period, that's impressive. It's like, well, let's take a look at that. But I also do zoom out and take a look at the 7-day and the 30-day amounts, and I pull a lot of data from the blockchain as far as holders and what people are doing and what other tokens people hold. And there's just so many questions you can ask of, well, I would call it an oracle, but in blockchain, that's something specific. So you can ask the oracle, so to speak. You just need to ask the right questions. So we're always trying to figure out what those are. So if you do have any suggestions at any point, please send me something on Twitter. And I often use those as inspiration for what I post next.
Yeah, perfect. And a huge member of our team certainly assists me in the majority of my ability to make decisions and choices for the investor. It's important that you understand on projects like this, the numbers are really what matter. Certainly, social sentiment and how we move through social parameters matter as well. But I would argue that when you have a product like we do, or a product like the XSurge team has, how we look at our numbers, how we understand them, and what we do with them is how we make money for the investor. So Andrew is a huge part of the team. I just also want to introduce Kyle. Kyle is the head or chief of our academy. Kyle, go ahead, introduce yourself a little. Mhm. Exactly. Yeah, we cover kind of everything. So it's never just going to be specifically Vault centric or specifically XSurge, but kind of starts from the bottom and moves all the way up. So what is crypto all the way through blockchain, wallets, really as much information as we can make available to our community and other communities is what the goal there is at our academy. And then Josh is one of our lead managers here over in our Discord server. He's a big help with the community, and we really are appreciative of all of what he does and his team of people who helped us today to set all of this up. So a big shout out to Shaka and Unappreciated Ninja, as well as Jay Nugget. They're not on the stage with us today, but they are a huge part of who were able to get everything kind of organized for us and what we're doing in the future. So just kind of, I guess I'll roll right into the AMA. So we'll just do kind of like the news in Vault. I think what I'll do is just start with the fact that we're on a really great uptrend. It is alt season, so Bitcoin dominance is dropping. For any of you who are interested in what that necessarily means, the market typically measures itself against the Bitcoin. It's just the way things are. Bitcoin dominance, when it drops, means that investors are pulling back some of the push on their investment there and typically are redistributing their profit and or gains into some of the other products that are available. And that is generally the alt season. So it looks like the push for that started maybe about 5 days ago. I know that our team here is certainly seeing it on both our numbers and holder counts, which are up. I think if you're okay with it, Andrew, I'll let you speak a little bit about what you're seeing, because of course you are the one aggregating that type of data for me on a daily basis.
Sure. Yeah. So anyone who has gotten the PDF from the stage chat, feel free to take a look at that. I'll probably also tweet them out after we're done here. But for those of you who don't have it open or you're on your phone, don't worry. I'll narrate in a way like a radio announcer. So I'll explain what I'm talking about. I won't just talk about it. So if you do have the PDF, if you look at the first one, that will look familiar to you if you've seen my tweets. This is a 30-day reflection report that looks at the 3 Vault DeFi tokens. And what I do is I express, obviously the BUSD is pretty much straight through because it is a US dollar value. So in the last 30 days, I see 87,500 of those BUSD tokens being sent out to holders in total. And then as far as the ETH Vault that outputs Surge Ethereum, if you take all of those tokens and then multiply by the current value in USD, today, so assuming you had held it up to today, the current value of those surges based on the changes in Ethereum price as well as the surge appreciation over time, I have that at 102,114 USD. And then the last one, the Vault token, which reflects in SBTC, but also several other things, which I'll get to next. That one actually is a little bit shortchanged on this report because, actually, two reasons. First one, you see listed there, it's only been active for 28 days, so it's not a complete 30-day period, not quite. But in that time, the current SBTC value alone is 128,525. So that's, and if you sum all those up, we're at, I think that's about 350, something like that, 230, and then 90. Oh no, it's like 320, something. So that's a pretty good 30-day window. But as I noted, there are some reasons why the SBTC picture isn't complete for that Vault token. So that takes us into the second page, because there is this new ability to be able to choose Vault reflections based on some of the contract innovations that have been built here. So it started off as SBTC, and as you see in that pie chart with 87.6% of holders, that's what they're receiving. I pulled this from the last 72 hours. So of all the people who got reflections in the last 3 days, 87.6% of them were SBTC. Then there are a big chunk of people, though, significant, who have gone into BSC Scan and used the contract write function to choose a different one. And so some of them have choose the Cardano, the Surge ATA, ADA, and then there's a lesser amount. In fact, I can pull these on my spreadsheet, I believe. It's a total of 12.4% that are in other commodities. So ADA was something like 4 or 5%, and then Useless was a little bit less than that. There's some Surge Ethereum and a slim sliver of people who have chosen the very stable Surge USD. So those are the outputs of the Vault BTC, the Vault token, formerly known as Vault BTC, but obviously can reflect in other things now. So as Jen mentioned, we are on a rather exciting bull run at the moment, market-wide, and also the Vault tokens are doing quite well. So I wanted to look at what that means for the holders of the ecosystem, how we're growing. So that takes us into the third page. And so what I've done here is I really wanted to take a look at some of the dynamics, because I could have swore I saw something before I zoomed in, and this is a zoomed in view. If you look on the left axis, you'll see we started a minimum of 8,500 holders to represent this period. Obviously, the first token existed from July through August, but I wanted to zoom in on the more recent period where the new tokens have been introduced. So if you're not looking at the graph, what we're seeing it's basically a spike in the course of a day or two, followed by a flat to maybe a slight taper where the number of holders is actually reducing a little bit. But then it's right after that, it's followed by the next spike, and then it tapers slightly and spike. And so we've got this nice pattern where we have these moments where the holder count really shoots up. And you'll see that that's synonymous with price increases, and it's probably a synergy where does price increase draw new holders? Yes. Do new holders buying create price increase? Yes. So that's a bit of a cycle. And this speaks to the education that Kyle's doing and everyone on the team is doing to get the word out and draw people in, because it's a cycle that intensifies on itself. So it's very important. If we're not, but as you can see too, in the periods where there's not a surge, we just leave this thing idle, the account does start to dwindle, right? People get bored. They want to move their money to other things. So that's why it's so important to be innovating like we are and to have educational material like we do. The last thing I want to share is that last fourth page. It's actually the same blue line, but then what I put on was people arriving and leaving. And I just really wanted to show what I thought I could see from the blue line, and it turned out to be true, that if you look in some of the periods where both the orange and the yellow are low, that is the people arriving and leaving. Those are woven together. So you'll see periods where there's just a small number of people arriving and leaving, and it's roughly the same. So the holder count stays pretty much stable. But then if we look at the periods where it spikes, the amount of people coming in shoots way up. The amount of people leaving actually shoots up a little bit too. Those would be profit takers, right? But it is a fraction. It's probably about 25% on those big days where a bunch of people are arriving. Only about 25% as many are leaving. Therefore, the holder count shoots up, and we capture a lot of those new people, and we don't lose that many. So it's just pretty interesting to see the ecosystem grow. I'm actually seeing in the recent period from September through now, I believe it has got kind of an exponential curve going. Obviously, every crypto project wants to get that parabolic growth, but we're also very much about stability. So I'm encouraged by the nice steady increase. And as we innovate, we have these moments where things shoot up. and then we keep those things woven together. So every week or two, there's something new that we're putting out there, and realistically, on a daily basis, the team is just developing new things, and then you'll see them get announced on maybe a weekly or semi-weekly basis. So certainly, I might think we might do Q&A at the end, so I'll be here for questions. But I think with that, I'll toss it back to Jen and everyone else.
Yeah, no, thank you, Andrew. And exactly why we have them on our team, everyone. We need these types of numbers and this type of data for obvious reason. It makes the decisions and choices for what we're going to do next a lot easier. And it certainly assists Mark in his development, and as well as what and when we do what we do next. Kyle, I was thinking I'd maybe just give you the floor for a little bit just to let people know what's happening with the Academy. We do have XSurge releasing their XUSD token tomorrow. So we have been spending some time not only educating our team here, we had what I call a master workshop or a master class. We had that here on Wednesday where all of the members of our team that work here on both the, internal side as well as moderators who work on motivating with the investors, were able to partake in kind of a one-on-one master class lesson with the team from XSurge as well as Mark, so that we all have a really, solid foundation in not only what XSurge is about, but also what the new token is going to bring to the market. So maybe just give you a couple seconds there, Kyle, to talk a little bit about the Academy and some of what you want to have people maybe direct their attention to. Oh, that's great. I just think people feel comfortable to utilize our Academy to reach out to Kyle directly. Feel free to DM him. He certainly knows a lot of information about crypto and blockchain, but also about all of our projects. So about Vault DeFi, about the 3 tokens and how they work here uniquely to one another, and then as well as the XSurge platform and what they're building. So yeah, just feel free to jump in and utilize the Academy as much as you want. I think what I'll do is I'll just go on and I'll just kind of discuss a couple other bigger kind of information and news that's happening that I get a lot of questions about. So one, dashboards and data aggregators. So those would be kind of your CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, Nomex. We are listed on all 3 of those, and that is for all 3 tokens. So for any of you who were noticing that there were kind of maybe non-concise information and maybe not paired or matching logos, all of that has been updated. I just want to give a huge shout out to Unappreciated Ninja, who's kind of spent the better part of the last week as much time as he could going back and forth with these teams and getting us access to being able to utilize some of it for our self-reporting. So all of that is now concise. It's all been updated and it is correct. For anybody else who has noticed that there is an issue with the Ethereum Vault token on CMC, you are absolutely correct. We have submitted for service and assistance in relation to why and how to fix that. There's obviously a data point that we've missed, or there's something related to one of the tokens or a number related to PancakeSwap that they can't get access to. So we're just trying to figure that out and make sure we can provide them the information they need as quickly as possible so we can get it back up and tracked. To know that the team is on that and that we have completed the other portion of requirements, and now this will be the sole kind of focus point for the future days moving forward, like from Monday moving forward. Also, just an update related to CertiK. Many of you might have noticed that we have pulled down some information. That is solely because we are updating them. So the market sentiment is being updated with all of the new links. So whether that's the website, the Telegram, the Discord, all of it, we're just ensuring that it's correct. There were 2 of them that were incorrect, and it was causing issues to the sentiment scores. So now that the business development team over in Certic has taken a look at it, we've pinpointed what was kind of off on the Oracle, which is where it stores our data and where it pulls the data. And we figured out exactly what's wrong. So we've now been able to give them the information they needed, which happened midweek last week. And they are now taking care of that. And then relation to the 2 smart contracts that are currently being relooked at, that is because we've done additional changes to the code. And that's on the distributor for Ethereum, and it's on the latency locks or the token lock system for BTC Vault. It's a unique new system, and Certic is really interested in it for not only us, but for many other projects. Serge uses it as well as many others. And it's being developed and innovated even further past what we're using it for from Mark and his team. So their team of engineers over there actually looking at it for future reference to add to their library. So it's kind of a nice thing. It's a bit of a toot of our horn. They like it. Mark's doing an amazing job. Big shout out to him on that. And that's why those are currently sitting in preliminary status. So they're kind of down while they take a look at it. Their engineers will reassess it. They will add the code to the library that Certic uses, and then they will submit back to us a new preliminary report. I'm hoping to have that this week, probably Monday or Tuesday. I look at it, look at the recommendations, I provide a response, and then I send it right back to them. Once they have the responses back, they're able to reload up the completed reports, and we'll just move on from that. So I'm not expecting anything to change necessarily then to move forward in our number or our stats. So it won't be taking a decrease at all. It's just going to be assessing it in the benefit of us. So that's just the Certic information. And then in relation to other things that we have going on, we've applied to do more coin tracking. I think at this point, with the 3 tokens and with the amount of data that we can get, we should utilize as many of the other platforms that do it for us. So though we have Andrew being able to pull, huge amounts of information off the blockchain at any given time, there is some other companies that do kind of concise information as well that we can use on a daily basis, or you as investors can use without having to wait on our dashboards or for us to do updating. One of those is Whale Watcher. So for anyone who doesn't know what Whale Watcher does, I believe it tracks holders. It certainly tracks whale movement. It also does reflections, and I believe burn, which is, not all companies do that. So those are 2 kind of unique properties that you can see there. So we are currently on there for our 2 tokens for Safe Vault and ETH Vault. We're just trying to ensure that we can get BTC on there as well. And that has been done this week, as well as kind of my favorite to add to the group of all of them, which is Lunar Crush. For any of you who don't know what Lunar Crush is, Lunar Crush does real-time social insight and what I would call market metric aggregation. So it specifically looks at what's happening on all of the social media platforms. It looks at what's happening in trending news or stories. It does social volume. I believe it does social engagement, shared links. I believe we do some news volume. So how often you're being published or how often you're being picked up in different publications. I know that it compares your token to Bitcoin dominance, which is important when we're looking at some of the runs and or the pullbacks from the bear market. So we have that tracked as well. And then one of the big ones, which is why it's important that we've now joined up with them, is that it does track social contribution. And with us moving into just a huge thanks to this new system that we have, which is the Vault Tellers, they're this group of community investors that have decided to bridge together and make a real push on a social point to make their voices of their investment heard. They kind of have the unique name. It's, Vault Tellers, so kind of a play on being an institution with a bank teller and then telling people. So they go out every single day. They let our numbers be known. They are provided those numbers through our math team and our academy. So they're getting, concise, right? It's, 100% correct information. None of the numbers are influxed. It is like live blockchain data. If you've been around from the beginning, you hear me say that over time, the numbers for this type of a project, as well as the XSurge project, will always speak for themselves. So the more that we're able to get that information out to the public, I think the better for everybody involved. And because we can now use Lunar Crush, it's probably important to note that any of you who are in here and you are a Vault Teller, you will probably somehow become an influencer. So if you weren't thinking you will be one, you certainly are on your way to do that because you're being tracked now as social contributors. So I just want to say a big shout out to them. Lunar Crush will be setting us up very shortly. And once that happens, I'll be providing kind of documents for that on a daily basis. I do run Twitter analytic reports daily so that I can see that what you're doing is working, and I can maybe give you little bits of tidbits of information on things we can do to improve it. I don't have any of those points to improve because you're literally killing it. Like, you're doing an amazing job. I ran analytics on it this morning. We are tracking and tracing and almost trending in all business, finance, and crypto sections. I think it's important to note that you are all hitting on 4 major points. Those 4 major points are shared links. So shared links get us even further in response to people being able to see the project. Those are Discord, Telegram, our Academy, and our website. So big thank you to all of you for being able to not only share the numbers, to do some of the new graphics, which are really, really cool. Just want to say thank you to Grind. A big shout out to him for being able to produce some of the graphics as quickly as he does, and really, quite frankly, as well as he's been doing, as well as DeFi, I guess it's DeFi Guy. I want to say, I don't want to get that wrong, but I think he's DeFi Guy at Vault DeFi. And he does some of the most beautiful kind of images, I would say, like really NFT quality images. He's been producing those on a daily basis for us. And I just think, like, the more that I can just shout these people out and let you know that they do exist in the background here of the company, it's important to. They're putting in a lot of work to make sure that when we do put all of this information out on a social platform, that it looks professional, and that we're doing kind of our part to ensure that the product looks what it should on a big stage. So thank you to you guys. I think I'll also just shout out as well while I'm saying that K-Grind and Random Arts work really hard to produce some of the content, as well as and Kyle for our Academy. And we do put a lot of that information out because the links that the Vault Tellers send out come from those sources. So thanks to all of you. This week, we will be adding for the Vault Tellers 2 more hashtags. So currently we are running with Choose Your Own Dividends, as well as Be Your Own Bank. Both of those have gone viral now for 3 weeks. We push somewhere between 300 and 800 of those an hour sometimes through Twitter, which is, not only impressive, but is assisting us in getting the viewership and the eyes and I guess what they say, which is the interactions of different, or the engagements of different people on Twitter are moving from, now they were originally in the thousands, they're now moving to the millions per day. I think this week what we're going to add is Vault Season, so pound Vault Season, which is a play on alt season. And then as well, we'll add even more rewards. So pound even more rewards, because this week we'll be adding XUSD as an option. I guess I'll also just mention just like the last 2 kind of points, which is our merchandise is in the progress of, it's basically completed. We are now testing orders on the internal side of the team here. We placed orders last week. We want to make sure that the drop shippers that we're utilizing internationally are able to provide the product that we are ordering, and that we're really happy with it. So we're waiting for those products to now land kind of globally amongst all of us in the team. We'll take a look at them. If everything looks good, we will be uploading the merch site, which is running through Shopify, onto our website. And then the website, as all of you know, is in the process of all being overhauled, and it is basically completed. The team has been utilizing it in beta and just making some small changes so that it's to the, to the look and I guess use of what we need for everybody moving forward. And then lastly, I just want to mention to anybody who uses the DApp team and engineer team will be making an update on it tonight. They will be switching over on a piece of software for the UI, and that will cause the app to kind of be down for a small period of time. And that's solely related to it might take time just based off of where where you're positioned, where your location is. So it could be, like a 10-minute thing, it could be a 2-minute thing. But if you notice that the DApp isn't working anytime after 10 o'clock this evening, that's solely why. So don't panic. It is because the team is working on it. It will be back up and running immediately after, once we switch off of, I believe it's Vercel, and moving over onto Netify. So once that happens, the product will be much better. And I really just want to say thank you to CryptoGap and the team of engineers, CryptoSons, and many others that have been helping to do that. And then I think what we can do is we'll just move over and start talking about XUSD, which is the new token coming out from the Vault, or from the XSurge team. And Blue and myself can maybe talk a little bit about Surge. I don't know how many of you know about Surge, but they certainly solved the liquidity issue that many of us don't necessarily know that exists. But the truth is that all holders that hold a Surge product, regardless of if everybody was to sell it today, you would always get 100% of your shares back. It's very unique in that sense. Most products could never do that. There's many other major benefits to Surge, but to me, that's one that is close to my heart. I always worry about liquidity and how that is used and balanced. And I think most people who invest in crypto don't necessarily know how important this is. But Mark has certainly found a solution to it. And XSurge is a wonderful product. I believe that most of you who are on my team or are part of our investments understand that I believe that in passive income, I believe in dividends. I believe that when you can find an investment that makes money and then you can make more money off of that money, you're kind of ahead of the game. And I would argue that XSurge is certainly helping me provide that for our investors and is doing it for themselves. So this is the type of a long-term hold token that you certainly should have as a mature portfolio investor. Blue, I don't know if you want to just kind of get into what XSurge is, or maybe start with a little bit of that and what XUSD is going to be doing tomorrow, and I'll be happy to help.
Yeah, sure. So up to this point, we've been highly involved in just generating continuous long-term passive income for the investor. So what we're based off of, if you guys don't already know, if you guys aren't already familiar, the way our token works is we have a variable token supply. It's not a deflationary currency. It's not even necessarily an inflationary currency. It's something totally unique in the space that is very unique as opposed to what other people have out there right now. But we operate off of a continuously fluctuating total supply and the value is based on the backing asset, which is always increasing or decreasing as people take from it. But the value of the token itself is based on the ratio between the total supply and the backing asset that's in the contract. You pull through the contract, we have what's called a swap pair liquidity system, in which a swapper contract is employed to perform an autonomous swap to the backing asset using the chain's native coin, in our case, Smart Chain BNB. So when you send Smart Chain to the contract, directly to the contract, you're not buying from a liquidity pool. What you're doing is you're sending it to a swapper contract that automatically takes that BNB, purchases the backing asset, and routes it into the liquidity pool. That, in turn, purchases the amount of tokens that you pull, and we have an underlying liquidity that automatically mints these new tokens into the total supply, thereby increasing the number by however many tokens that you would purchase. So basically, the way the value works is however much of the backing asset is in the pool, and however many of the total supply is in the pool, however much of the total supply is in the contract is what determines the value of the token. So the more of the backing asset that you have in the pool, the more your token is worth. Typical liquidity, and the way that works. So if you want to calculate it yourself, if you go to the contract, all you do is you divide the amount of backing assets. So in the case of Surge Ethereum, you'll divide the amount of Ethereum that we have in the contract divided by the total supply of tokens that we have altogether to get the total dollar value price of the coin. So it's very unique. It's typically what you have in traditional liquidity pools is you have a backing asset, of course, and you have a total supply of tokens. And typically it's in the case of hyperdeflationary, you'll have like 1 quadrillion tokens. And the BNB value is constantly being added to or taken away from, but the total supply is only decreasing rather than ever increasing or decreasing, so on and so forth. It's only ever decreasing or increasing when it's sold back to the pool, but deflationary. But we have a lot of educational information out there. If that was clear as mud, I'm terribly sorry. I'm honestly not too used to explaining this verbally. But yeah, so very unique concept. And the way our token works, we actually have a coin term for it. It's called a price tax ratio algorithm. 6% of the tax, like in our first 2 currencies that we've released, Surge Ethereum and Surge USD, we have a 6% tax. And whenever you buy the crypto, you receive 94% of the tokens that you would originally purchase. So whatever they were worth at that value, you received 94% of that. And the total supply only goes up that 94% of the amount of tokens that you purchased. So if you purchased 12 million tokens, and that's the 94% of the total supply that you purchased, and that's what you're going to get back. So it's technically the total supply is 94. It's 6% less than it should have been originally when you purchased those tokens, which increases the ratio of the amount of backing asset in the pool to the total supply of tokens that are in existence. When you sell, you receive 94%. There's a 6% tax. You receive 94% of the backing asset. 6% remains in the pool. So the ratio shifts even more in favor of the backing asset in the pool. So thereby the value goes up even higher. That's why sells, transfers, and buys, sells, and transfers always raise the value of the token to the backing asset in the pool. So it's very unique. There's nothing out there like it that I know of at the moment. But yeah, so we do have a new token coming out, and this is what's been most anticipated. Is we wanted to build a consistent growth structure for the investors to continuously make money off of it. But what do we thrive on? Well, everything that raises value, everything that's going to raise the value of the token has to do with volume. So we need volume. In order to generate volume, we thought the best method of doing this would be to thrive on arbitration opportunity. We want to be able to trade back and forth between these various assets, find some way to give the investors a method to play the market. And if we can allow them to play the market, then we'll see a high influx of transactions as people are trading over between these assets, trying to play the market and gain profit off of playing the market. So we created a token that acts as an intermediary asset to be able to do this. So what you'll do is you'll route your original asset. Say you want to go from surge at SUST, market's down, we're in a bear market, we want to go over to a stable coin because that's guaranteed you're not going to lose any you're not going to succumb to volatility and worry about losing any of your profit. So what you'll do is you'll trade over from Seth into this new token. It's called XUSD. You'll trade over into XUSD, and then you'll trade back over into SUSD to get out of Seth. I'm sorry, SE. Oh boy, I can't talk today. All right, so you're holding Seth, and you trade over to XUSD, and then you trade back over to SUST. We offer that freedom to be able to transfer between those assets through this intermediary asset. And the way that we're doing this is it uses very low fees. There's 75% for a buy, and there's 75% for a buy, and then 0.25% for 0.75% for a purchase, and then 0.25% for any transfers of the token or any other transaction. So, or for staking. So whenever you first stake into the asset from another asset, you're going to pay a 0.75% fee. And then when you cross back over to the next asset, you'll pay that fee again. You still pay the native fee. So what this does in turn, the reason we still want that native fee to be done, only it's just a transfer fee, so it's going to be much lower. So typically we have a 6% fee, you'll have a 2% transfer tax. So you'll pay that 2% transfer tax, and then you'll pay that 0.75% fee for staking in. I'm sorry, 0.25% fee for transferring over, and you'll pay the tax for going in as well. So if there's a 2% tax on the other one, you'll pay an additional 2% tax on top of that. So that tallies up to 2.5% tax that you'll pay, a 4.5% tax that you'll pay altogether for the complete transfer over to the other asset. And what that does is that boosts the price floor for all three assets: XUSD, Seth, and SUST. So you're raising the price floor for every single one of those assets just by taking advantage of an arbitration opportunity. So it offers a little more freedom in the market for you to gain profit on the market. And traditionally, I mean, typically in a full-on bear market, if you're trying to react to a stable coin, a lot of other people are going to do this as well. So you're going to see volume among those same assets. You know, you're going to have liken pairs of increased volume for the same assets because people are having a lot more people are having the same idea. So there's a lot of opportunity to build on top of this, you know. So we're actually in the middle of compiling an idea right now to maybe track more arbitration opportunity using our maybe some integrations development. In the Discord, our guys are talking right now about possibly building a structure to be able to track and see various arbitration opportunities so that the investors may have a good idea, not financial advice, of course, of where might be the best place to transfer funding over. You know, if you want to cross back over to SBTC, that might not be the best opportunity at the time. Statistically, this may be the best place to go. You know, so we'll have tracking algorithms out hopefully pretty soon to be able to do that as well. Shortly after we release the asset. But anyway, so the new asset, we're very excited. It releases tomorrow. It'll be a fair launch. And everybody gets in at the exact same time. It will launch on PancakeSwap initially, paired with BNB. And at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I'm sorry. So it'll launch at 3 p.m. Eastern time on PancakeSwap. We'll have the contract out across all of our media outlets at the exact same time. We have a program algorithm that automatically sends out the announcements to the people, so everybody will have the same contract number and announcement at the same exact time across all media outlets that we go on. I'll post the Discord link up in the chat as well. If you guys are not a member already of our Discord, I'll post the link in the chat so you guys can get access to that. But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And if you guys have any questions, I'm not much of a public speaker, so I'm happy to answer any questions in the Discord as well. Or if you have any specific questions, maybe I can answer up here today. I'll happily get at that if my explanation wasn't too clear. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
You
right
got
now.
it. Yeah, you can hear your excitement in it. I just want people to know, from a team standpoint, this is exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm happy that you're here, Blue. It's so important, all of you investors are able to hear from, directly from the team involved in making these types of innovations. Blue's a really, really, really well-written technical writer. So he's doing the white papers for XSurge. He certainly does the majority of the write-ups that are done in Reddit and many other platforms. And like he mentioned, what XSurge is really, really unique to the space. That's because of how it utilizes the LP system and how they've chosen to been able to benefit from it. So, Blue, anytime you ever want to talk about tech, I'm a tech girl personally, so I love every bit of it. I can't wait for tomorrow. I think we're going. Is it going to market at 3:00?
Yeah, from my understanding, it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're launching the token. Mark's already provided us with the contract numbers. It just hadn't been activated yet. So if I can get his permission, we're going to release it early.
Yeah. Well, they went up last night. The farming as well. We tested all of that late last night. So everything looks really, really solid on it. I think people are going to be really, really happy to hold an appreciating stablecoin. I don't think people have ever seen anything like this. I know that I'm personally getting a lot of calls from exchanges that are interested in understanding the tech behind it. Why wouldn't you? I know you touched base just briefly there on bear and bull market and the ability to mitigate some risk. And I would argue that the majority of Surge products already provide that. But this is rather unique in the sense that you can take and hedge profit and or take and hedge the entire market share you have in one of the tokens and move it very seamlessly with a very minimal fee into something that is not only a hedge, but an appreciating one at that. As just away from Vault DeFi, as a personal investor, I'm really excited about this type of a product being available to me. I think that people need to know, it's never going to drag a price, that there is, it's intermediary. It does many, many things. I think that the other unique concept that's coming out of XSurge is that the yield farming ability, that they're going to allow you to pair liquidity, that, we'll be able to have any two tokens paired with another Surge token.
Yeah,
there's so many things, right? It's going to be a 50% Surge, 50% BNB. It's going to be able to protect against a lot of the volatility with BNB. Though I will argue that BNB is on quite a tear just now. It's running with the bulls more than I actually anticipated it. I believe it is up quite a good percentage even this morning than it was yesterday. But these are the cool parts of DeFi, and being able to use peer-to-peer lending and utilizing some of these unique ways to use technology to benefit us as investors, being able to lock things away for a period of time to benefit you with a larger gain. Unless you're a day trader, I think the majority of us understand that when we're invested into these types of products, we're here for the long-term passive gains. So any type of development team or any type of company that's willing to go ahead and innovate and develop around the idea that if we're already holding these tokens, then why don't we get paid to hold them even more? And that's where we get into the idea of dividend shares and utilizing compounding factors, which is what, if you've heard me say, is the eighth wonder. It was the eighth wonder for a really long time. It was kind of buried away when Einstein spoke about it, but it really is a mathematical concept. And once you understand that you have one asset, whether that's, fiat or finances related to fiat, or if it's a commodity related to a metal or something else like that, when you figure out that you can hold the original that or the underlying asset, and there's ways that you can contribute to making that asset create more wealth, then you figure out that that new wealth can also be reinvested to create more. And that's what these types of tokens do. So I'm just like super happy to work with them. I think we'll just open it to questions. I was going to go through a couple of questions that I had here from my team directly. Just give me a quick second. I'm just opening up my PDF for it. And I'll go through them just briefly. Many people here in the community have been submitting them via our Discord. So I think we'll just start with kind of like the beginning. It says, since XUSD does not have the same buy and sell taxes as the other Surge tokens, if we switch our reflections to XUSD instead of, say, a Surge BTC, will we get an increase in the dollar amount that hits our wallets?
Well, the taxes are a lot lower, so I wouldn't necessarily say it really all depends on volume. We can't necessarily predict that because volume is a variable, right? So we're not going to know exactly which token variants are going to have more of an increase in price floor at that time, while XUSD doesn't necessarily have a very high tax to raise the price floor. 1/5, at least for the first 2 days, 1/5 of that 0.25 for transfers is going to be used to raise the price, is going to be reallocated back to the as rewards for the people that decide to stake their liquidity in the yield farm contract. The remaining of that 1/5, the 4/5, is going to be used, sent back to the contract to be used to raise the price floor of XUSD, thereby raising its value. However, XUSD is more versatile. Anybody that decides to trade into that to try to play the market and take arbitration opportunity, regardless of whatever asset they're going to be coming from, they're going to have to touch XUSD. So obviously we're going to have a higher volume percentage. However, if you go to something like SUST or any of the other token variants, that could vary. Not everybody might go to SBTC, or not everybody might go to SUSD.
Yep.
They might go to another asset which would be completely unaffected by that volume. So it's kind of hard to say exactly where you're going to see the most benefit. And I can't necessarily give any financial advice or predictions on what's going to do the best. You know what I mean? But I can tell you that you're probably going to see more volume. Predictably, it would make more sense if you would see more volume through XUSD should people decide to take advantage of this than you would with the other token variants. But that's just what makes sense to me. However, it may end up completely flatlining and balancing out in the end. They might be the higher tax on the other tokens might raise the price floor at the same rate as XUSD, which will have higher volume but less tax. There's just no way of 100% predicting that. But I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? These tokens are designed for individual investors, and everybody's going to have a different reason or a different pro and con as to how they use them. It kind of leads into my next question from one of the community members that says, like, how is having XUSD as a reward option for Vault BTC going to impact the Safe Vault and its BUSD reward? So they're drastically different. If you're pointing for XUSD has the properties that allow it to be the intermediary token to kind of move yourself amongst the XSurge products. So it's going to allow you to do it at a very low tax rate. So you're going to lose that. You don't have to play with the 6% tax that you're going to play with the other tokens. However, if you're looking to compound on BUSD, which is a non-surge product, that's currently what we're reflecting with the Safe Vault token. So I would say probably not comparable and definitely won't impact or change it. It's just going to be solely based off of the investor and what they're looking to accomplish. So if you're looking to have a stabilized Binance token that is already unwrapped and prepared for you to utilize for reinvestment, then I would argue that utilizing the Safe Vault contract as it sits today is going to be beneficial to you. I would also just say that keep in mind, as many of you know, that we will be making the optimizations over the next 50 days on the contract. And once that happens, BUSD might not be the reflective token that we're looking to use because we now have options that are better for our investors. So, you know, just like what you're saying, Blue, it's hard to say what'll happen, but I would imagine utilizing an appreciating stable token that's doing it in the technology that Surge does will probably lend itself to being the more secure one and most likely the one that, as a general investor, you might want to have for many different reasons. Yeah. One of the next questions, I guess, that we have coming from my team here is, will Vault be creating its own exchange? The answer is no. We're not looking to create an exchange. We have a unique kind of capability to work amongst the team of collaborators that we currently have. The team that we work with here is XSurge. They are producing a DEX system that is secondary to really anything I've ever seen. Anybody who's willing to go up against an AMM maker and make it so that investors are able to keep more of their funds, more of their gains, and essentially more of their fees in their own pocket is something that I'm always going to be a proponent of. So for me to go up and compete against something like that, I don't think would ever be necessary for us. We have a unique ability to be a part of it. So ideally speaking, what Surge creates or the XSurge team is creating with their DEX system, we would just like to be a part of it, and they know that. So we'll be listing anywhere we can and utilizing pools and kind of pairing when we can and what we can. Blue, and take the floor if you want to talk a little bit about the DEX exchange that's coming out. You don't have to, but by all means, if you want to give them a little teaser.
Really, the most I can say about it. So we're going to list more than just XSurge variants. Obviously,
Mhm.
it will be a full-on DEX. Hopefully, we'll have some very versatile components in there to be able to, maybe even transfer between other assets using XUSD. We'll definitely have some DApp integrations from what I'm hearing. So the DEX will integrate with the DApp. We might even be. We're taking a poll on this right now. We're actually voting for the name. I've only got 10 votes out of 21 in right now. But yeah, still waiting. Nobody answers my emails. But yeah, we're currently possibly going to be naming it the same as the DApp. So right now we're at a 50% vote on that. So we will definitely have integrations with the actual current DApp, with the DEX, and the Surge factory, hopefully. So a lot of everything that we're building is going to be the DEX is going to be the center, the center fortress of all of that massive ecosystem. But yeah, that's really, I wish I could say more about it. I can tell you what it looks like. It's going to have a dark mode, I promise. But as far as any granular details on how it's going to work, how it's going to look, it's going to be cool. I've heard what it's going to look, but as far as the interface, I haven't really seen enough yet to be able to give you really granular specifics on what it's going to look like or what the user interface is going to look like. But based on all I have to go on right now is my Lord's ideas, and he is an absolute genius. We are very lucky to have that guy.
You should see it. Yeah, I saw it last night. You should see what he's been able to create in the last couple of days. It's beautiful, and you're right. Dark mode, absolutely. Any of you who know us know that we don't function with light mode. In fact, it's blinding. So yeah, dark mode is definitely in it. It looks really, really clean. It's going to be super easy to maneuver between different commodities and assets. It looks great. He's really building it for premium use. He comes with a background in game development too. So he has access to some of the programs and systems, I would say, that other developers aren't proficient in. And I think that XSurge is going to benefit, as well as your DEX, from being able to utilize kind of two variable ways of being able to choose and utilize the system from how do I say this in a non-development mind? I guess it's going to be really cool. So back to the question, no, we will not be creating our own exchange. We will be using and contributing and trying our best to push forward with the exchange that Surge is producing. The next question that I have coming out of my community is, will we create our own blockchain? I don't think so. As someone who works in blockchain, do I want my own blockchain? Potentially. Does it work for something that we would need for Vault? Probably not. It would be probably more suited for something that XSurge is producing, but I don't know if that's necessarily in your cards either. I'm more of the cross-chain kind of specialist, and what I'd be looking to do now is to being able to bring more commodities over for the Vault community to be able to have access to. And to do that, I utilize a completely different system, which would be working to bridge amongst amongst other chains. So utilizing Chainlink type of a device or protocol, or Substrate. We would use Substrate, and then Rust development, XAMP protocol, something like that, allow me to get into some of the other blockchains, get access to some of the other commodities. Utilizing that, we could potentially deploy onto some of the other networks and then bridge using that as well. So ideally, maybe 6 months ago, it was necessary to go about building your own exchange or your own blockchain. And now I would argue that there's been much more of an advancement into integrations, the ability to use different languages, also the program systems that allow a developer that's proficient maybe in Solidity and has absolutely no understanding of Rust to be able to use some of the platforms now that will change and redistribute the language into the ones necessary to work on other blockchains like Solana and other ones like that. So I would say no, it's not in the cards at the moment, and maybe never needs to be. I'm a big proponent of technology, and I like to support teams that are building to make things easier. And with Web3 development in its expansion process, as it's moving as quickly as it is today, I would argue that there's many other companies doing what they need to make things available to people like ourselves to get more and more available commodities to our investors. So simple, but no, I don't think so. Any news on marketing? Well, as you can see, we have a huge community-based kind of street marketing system going right now. Social sentiment, generally speaking, is most popular in Twitter. Twitter it's a world. It's a metaverse. It's considered a place. Twitter crypto is a thing. You're talking about tens of millions of people every single day that utilize that platform to get their information on investments. Whether we use them for personal use or we use them from a business standpoint, we are all over it. Our team right now is consistently making viral moves, I would say not only on a daily basis, but sometimes an hourly basis. Myself, I've been working really, really hard to be on as many public platforms as I possibly can, as often as I can. I'm not sure if the community is aware, but we now have female-based blockchain podcast that is established every Tuesday now at lunchtime. So that's at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time here in North America. It includes many different women, not only in blockchain, but they're in cybersecurity. They're entrepreneurs in their own right. Some of them are chief marketing officers for their teams or their cryptocurrencies. Many of them are just regular business women. Some of them are in investment strategies. Other ones are in different types of assets. So that might be real estate and how you can utilize real estate and cryptocurrency together. But ideally speaking, that is kind of one of the bigger pushes that if you've heard me speaking about how women are sometimes overlooked as investors, and certainly some of the ones who make the bigger decisions amongst the family in their homes. So that is kind of where we're moving toward with the marketing this week and these next few weeks. I have a big show that is coming up on Tuesday this week, and I have, I believe, 8 to 10 women who are booked to be on that, some of which are making a real headway in their own personal careers and have made a space for themselves. So it's going to be nice to have people who are trending on the platform as well with me on Tuesday. A week or so from now, I do plan on doing what I call a roundtable summit. That roundtable summit is being headed up by one of my team members here, who is Jay Nugget. If any of you know him, shout him out. He's doing a lot of work in the background. That is being put together with 8 to 10. It might be 6 to 10. I should probably say other projects that are not only uniquely positioned for security standpoint. So all of them believe quite heavily in anti-rug protection. All of them believe in data and analytics being at the forefront of how you become successful for your investors. All of them are successful in their own right. They're all docs devs. They all understand that what we're doing here in DeFi is really it's really a finite time in history. And we want to make sure that investors understand that you don't have to be a one token person. that really building yourselves out to have a properly diversified portfolio right now is the best thing you can do for yourself and your future families, children, grandchildren. You're going to get one shot at this in life, and it's kind of right now. So understanding what's happening in the market, knowing that these companies exist, is going to be a big thing. I think that having this roundtable will also be really unique, that we can have kind of cross LP discussions. We can talk about pooling. We can do different things. And, you know, bringing even Surge to the platform, like something like that, is something that's really important to me, because I think that people don't understand that technology like XSurge exists. And the truth is, it's really important that we do. When you solve liquidity problem like Surge has, you really are putting your foot on a big amount of the issues that a lot of us have been dealing with for the last few years in DeFi. So that's kind of another thing that's happening on a marketing standpoint over the next couple of weeks. I think we're looking to book that not this coming week, but a week after. And information will come out to the community as soon as I have it all solidified. Otherwise, come and join me on Tuesday on Twitter, and you will see kind of what we do there. Our podcasts have been picked up by both Shopify and Apple Podcasts. It's called Babes in Blockchain. My co-host there is Jackie. She is Tupac Shakur's out of Useless. She is the chief CMO over there. I will be bringing, I believe, Carmen. She is the CEO over at DBT as well. So she'll come, and a few others. There's Crypto She. She's a real estate specialist, investment specialist, motivational speaker, also the CMO on Rug Seekers. So lots of us involved in all of these projects will be speaking as much as we can and as often as we can to make people a little bit more confident, feel comfortable in investing right now in the market. And then I guess there's been a lot of questions related to what we're doing in January. For obvious reasons, Mark and I are not, necessarily prepared to speak about the specifics of what we're doing. The LP will be unlocked on all 3 tokens. We did a not long-term locking system. So we had always established that it would need to be open, that we would probably want to be able to do some optimizations on the contracts. We, of course, know that things change very quickly. And as we have a visionary sitting at our contract development, it's important that he has the ability to make changes to contracts in the benefit of our investors. So we will be doing that. That will happen, obviously, on the 1st of January. And then that would be on both of the contracts that are currently sitting there. So that's for both Safe Vault and for both Ethereum Vault contract. The BTC Vault contract will also open up, and it will be affected by what we can and can't do with the liquidity there. So, all 3 of them, good news for all of it. I can only express to you, if you're a current holder of Vault, great. And for anybody who's getting into it, it's a good time, because come January, things will be looking even better for our company. And then lastly, I would say that people are asking me a little bit about if I'm thinking about modifying the tax structures. So changing to a 10% buy tax and maybe a 20% selfie. And I would say the answer there is no. I say there are competitor tokens that currently use forks off of our contracts that we've created that have similar buy-in selfies like that. They're more than welcome to push that forward with their community, but we are a long-term hold token. We are a token that believes in passive income. And if I could only express to you over the last few days, if you see the volume that's been coming in on buys, there has been very few sells. So many of you might be in my DMs actually saying, with all of this change in price, why is my reflections not looking like they should? I opened up many of them this morning and saw people were quite concerned that they weren't getting a lot of reflections. They were asking me if there was issues with the distributors. But the truth is, the buy fees are very low and the sell fee is quite high. And the majority of our holders understand that holding this product is in their best benefit, that you're here for the passive income. You're not here for the profit on the influx in price and value. These tokens will go up in value, as they should, with deflationary products and with the proprietary math that Mark has embedded in the contracts. However, the passive income is really what's going to benefit you here long-term as an investor on this project, as well as XSurge. So I would just say, that's not something that we're looking at for any of the contracts right now. And then lastly, I think that's my last question. I just wanted to say, thank you to anyone. If there's anyone here who has a question, I'm not sure. I'm open to doing maybe 1 or 2. Otherwise, I'm hoping to just kind of have it as a quick AMA and let you guys get back to your Sunday afternoon. We have busy things happening tomorrow with XUSD going to the market. I'm just going to say, I think it's 3:00, but stay tuned on Twitter. Again, check out the Discord channel, the XSurge Discord channel. They're always great at doing updates on their announcements. And like Blue said, you might even be lucky enough to get access to the contracts and stuff before this happens at 3:00. So ideally speaking, tomorrow you will have access to getting to the XUSD token. You'll be able to also get access to being able to pair liquidity and how that works. So more and more information over the next, I'd say, 12 to 24 hours. It's 3:00 now, Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, next 12 to 24 hours, more information related to XUSD. And then just thank you guys for coming all today to hear us talk and listen to us about our projects. And to everybody on the stage, thank you. And there you are, CryptoGap. Let me give you a quick second on the mic there because you have the DApp being updated and you might be able to give me a little bit more information that I passed the community. Everybody who doesn't know CryptoGap, he's a huge member of the team. He's one of our engineers and developers. He's working on both the website, he works on our DApp, he works on XSurge, he helps on many different projects, and just a really, really big, another huge member of our team on the backside of our internal team. So if you see him in Discord, say hello.
Thank you very much, Jen, for that very kind introduction. So like Jen was saying, we are updating quite a bit on the website, DApp. We're always trying to make it more accessible to everyone. And with that growth comes a little bit of growing pains. And the community has been absolutely amazing. Understanding those growing pains and understanding that as we add more functions and features, that there is going to be a little bit of tweaking necessary to make sure that everything's working right. But one of the big things I'd like to say is I'd like to thank you very much to the entire community for always hitting me up and letting me know that they're having an issue, where they're having it, what operating system they're using, if they're using a phone or tablet or whatever, because that helps drill down what the problem is and what specifically that device is having an issue with. Another thing that's great to know if you're having an issue is what geographical location you're in, because sometimes the CDN, which is the content delivery network that allows us to not have to host actual servers in every single geographical area, sometimes there's an issue with those CDNs updating the latest version of the app, or even it specifically is latest version of a single file that's causing you to get the infamous white screen. We are very, very hopeful that moving over to the new server environment and platform that we're looking at is going to alleviate that white screen issue. We've been putting in just countless hours testing the new server platform, figuring out how to make the migration as absolutely seamless as possible, and making sure that everybody is aware that that's going to happen and when it's going to happen. I know that I put out this morning that we will be doing that at 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is, if you're looking for a major city to go off of, that would be Chicago in the United States. Other than that, once the website, the new version of the website that I teased out a couple of days ago, once that goes live, which is something that we really needed to revamp just to update all of the latest information, all the latest changes that we're making with the Vault DeFi ecosystem, the Vault DeFi contracts, everything is getting enhanced and moving forward with the entire ecosystem. So we are making active changes to that website. And Jen, in her way of thinking, said, "Look, let's not continuously update the current site. Let's just push out a very new, well-vamped, very informative website instead of confusing people with change here, change there, change here to the existing site." And I don't know if everybody saw that tease that I pushed out not too long ago, but the new site is not only going to be very informative, it's going to be a one-stop shop for all things Vault DeFi. It's going to have all your contracts. It's going to have all the information, how each contract was broken up. It's going to have the most up-to-date buy and sell information. It's going to have the swapper information on there. It's going to have everything anybody would need to become as educated as possible on the Vault DeFi ecosystem, including a glossary of terms that you might want to know, a library of videos that you're going to want to watch from the Vault Academy. It's going to have a library of just treasure troves of information for everybody to grab everything they need. But once that site is up, my sole task will be to provide that same level of revamp to the DApp. And that is what I will be working on next, along with everybody else that has been helping me with this transition into the new site and then ultimately the new DApp. Does I guess, Jen, did you want to
yes.
move to questions about that, or do you have any statements you'd like to make about the transition?
I'm just really happy with the work that's being done. Gap has put a lot of his personal time into this. More than appreciative of it. I can only express to you without even words how much time it's taken to be able to develop the concept that needed to be produced so that we can really show not only the community, but the new investors that'll be coming in to see really what Vault is about, the long-term benefit of holding it, that it is a product that really isn't a token. It's not like how the product was being maybe shown or showcased to the community prior to. I personally found the previous website was rather also as one that currently maybe had a product, how it fit into what we were developing and why. It's also really important that people understand like education. I know you've heard me say this many times is really the most important part of what we're doing here in DeFi. And because all of the different projects that exist right now are so different, the way that they're utilizing smart contracts, understanding just like small points of it is really important. So adding a really, important tab, like learning about crypto, learning about blockchain, understanding how DeFi works, what the different parameters are of the projects and the ability to use DeFi. Those are really important things. So the platform that we're using now for the website is going to have, a really great kind of homepage. It shows the product. It'll show the DApp system. It'll show why and what it is to become confident becoming your own bank. It's going to have kind of like, like little tickers and, widgets that are installed that you can have so you can have access to real-time data. It'll have signups for masterclasses. So like that's something I think that maybe some projects should have and maybe don't have, but really important to do, offering yourself to your community so that people can feel more comfortable learning together. The more we learn, the more we understand, the more confident we get. So we'll have signups and things like that keep you engaged. It'll have community tabs letting you know what's going on amongst, like globally, what's going on with Vault community and other communities that we collaborate with. It'll also have access to kind of the new roadmap and where we're looking at being and what we're doing. Speaking engagements for myself. So I'm currently booked to be at the University of Arizona Tech. I'll be doing that in 3 weeks, where I'm speaking to not only the student body, but also to a very large investor body that is interested in what we're doing here. I'm also looking to be the lead speaker, as well as Mark, in April at the World Blockchain Summit here in North America. So, keeping you up to date on some of those aspects of where we're going and what we're doing is really important too. So I'm going to have all of that involved in the website. So I think just like a cleaner, much more relatable website. Also, light and dark mode. So bright and dark for people who, need it like me, turn off the lights. And then I think did you mention, Gap, that you're also designed that for the DApp? So the DApp will be able to be both bright and dark mode as well.
Yes, we will be using the same framework that we built the new website on, will be the same framework that we are building the new DApp on. So it will be a system integrated light mode and dark mode. So if you're on your phone, tablet, desktop, whatever your system is set to, it will take that and pull it into either the DApp or the website. And most browsers, most phones, most tablets have the ability to set an independent setting for specific sites, and you can always turn that light mode, dark mode on at your device as you see fit based on time or specific circumstance. I know that when I'm on a plane, I like to use dark mode, so that way it doesn't interrupt anybody around me. But when I'm sitting at my desktop developing, I like light mode turned on because I'm able to see it a little bit better in my office.
Yep. And that's kind of another unique feature of kind of what Xsurge and Vault do is really try and make it available for individual benefit, right? So why not develop the other projects in our tech to be something you can choose and use uniquely to yourself? So I'm really happy with the Gap. There's nothing else I can say other than the fact that let's get it to the people as quickly as we can. It's currently being tested by our internal team. I still have maybe 3 or 4 aspects of it that I want to continue to add to for the verbiage and writing. I apologize that it's been taking me a little bit longer. It's just that I've been relatively busy this week with trying to get a couple of my projects complete. That said, it's super important that it gets out, and I want it out by the end of the week. So I hope all of you will have it and enjoy it and use it. I also just wanted to add that with the DApp, kind of next stage, or if we can get to a place Gap, I'd love to be able to choose your own dividends really seamlessly through the DApp, and the addition of XUSD as soon as possible after the release. So we'll have Mark approve that and get it in there as soon as we can.
Yep.
Yeah. So for everybody else who's listening, I think we'll just drop off and say thank you to the whole panel here today. And, make sure that you follow everything happening on Xsurge if you're interested in getting involved with the XUSD token or any other of their projects. Blue is the go-to contact over there if you want to get them in the community management or Talden. Both, not only incredibly kind individuals, but highly, highly intelligent with what they're doing. So thank you for coming over, Blue, and giving me a hand today over here. Thank you, Gap, for all you do in the background and all that hard work that you've been doing with our tech. And of course, the relatability of you being a part of the community here in Discord. I know people really enjoy being able to have contact with you. Of course, Andrew, where do I say and what do I start with? Just a huge help to me personally. And then, of course, what you're able to do with data and analytics is beyond anything I ever thought I would have directly on my team without having to outsource it. So having you being able to do what you do with your PHP code and then essentially making databases and stuff for me to be able to provide that type of information to the community is second to none. Kyle, what you've been able to do in such a short period of time with that YouTube channel, where do I even start? I don't know if you really know how many people you're impacting and how much you're helping. Some of those videos have thousands and thousands of people watching. What you're being able to do, even with the simple recording of these types of AMAs, the AMAs for the Surge team are huge. It allows people who maybe miss out on opportunity, who see something through one of the tellers or one of the Twitter tweets. They're going over to the Academy. They're able to self-choose some of the information there, learn on their own, use different mediums. And essentially, you're making people feel a lot more comfortable, which then, again, makes people more confident. And then they can make investment strategies that work for themselves long-term and their families. Josh, where do I start? You run the heck out of Discord, and you have a great sense of humor. And I know people really enjoy engaging with you. For everyone else who doesn't know, there's Shaka here. He's our automation specialist. He also works here in Discord and was able to help me set all of this up. He works on my direct operations team as well as Unappreciated Ninja. And JNug, a week from now or a week and a half from now, we have a pretty big round table that we're putting together. And I want you to know how much I appreciate you guys. So thank you, all of you. Awesome team here on Vault, awesome group of investors. And thanks for spending some time with me today. I apologize, we ran over. I was hoping to do this kind of 30, 40 minutes. It did take a little longer. So next time we will try and do this over in Twitter so that we can have more of a public stance and a little bit more of a, casual way of doing things. So maybe we'll try and do that this week, Blue. After the release of XUSD, we'll try and get some more people out there listening to us, seeing what we have happening.
Sure. Sounds good.
Well, have a great day, guys. And everybody, girls and guys listening, have a really great day. Thank you all for coming. And I'm just going to drop off the stage. Or Jaway, you probably know better than me how to close it off. I don't know.
Yeah, just exit quietly.
This makes it sound so easy. I can't do anything quietly. Watch how loud I am.
Everybody single file.
Single file.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Y'all have
See
a
you.
great rest of your weekend.